.2 Auckland.
Kiwi FM.
You're listening to the Radio Wammo Breakfast, only on Kiwi.
Well, with only 4 days left at the Copenhagen Climate Change Conference, it's time to check in with what is happening in that part of the world with Daniel Nielsen from the Copenhagen Post there this morning. Good morning to you, Daniel.
Good morning, Wammo.
Now, there's certainly been a few days since we've last spoken. So, what's been the guts of what's been happening at the conference over the past few days?
Well, it's more about what's been happening outside of the conference. Things have really heated up on the streets of Copenhagen, despite the freezing cold. We had a bit of snow yesterday, actually, so hopefully that'll take the heat out of some of these protests. But yeah, loads and loads of protests over the weekend. On Saturday, an estimated 50,000 people took part in a protest that started in the city and moved out towards the conference venue. But en route, almost 1,000 people got arrested and put into the climate jail, as they call it, which is basically just a massive car park where they've erected sort of temporary jails, or cages rather. Yeah, it's quite a sight in the city, actually, if you walk around on a Saturday night. They've got all these sort of drunken Christmas revelers who've been to their staff Christmas parties. You got normal Christmas shoppers, and then you have the odd panda hanging around, who's been out protesting.
Yeah. And why have they been arrested? I mean, it's not illegal to protest, surely?
Yeah, of course it is. But in Denmark, legislation's been introduced which enables the police to make preventative arrests during demonstrations. So if they think there's a chance that the demonstration could end up with people vandalising the streets or people throwing rocks at the cops, they're just going to arrest people. They're just basically on the weekend here, they just rounded up hundreds of people, groups of hundreds basically, tied their hands together, sat them on the ground in big chains sort of, and then just took them away. There was reports that some of the protesters were sat on the ground, which was pretty cold ground actually, and sat on there for 2 or 3 hours, and people were pissing their pants and not being allowed to leave. It was pretty horrific sort of stuff.
I'd imagine potential for piles as well.
Yeah, but I don't know whether it's better that the police go in and stop things before anything happens. Or is it better that they let things happen and then start bringing out the batons and beating people? It's kind of hard to really know what's best. It's not very democratic to stop a demonstration before it's even started.
Well, it almost seems, though, that the protesters are perhaps going through the motions as opposed to, wanting any kind of end. I mean, I suppose they want the leaders to listen to them, but surely they don't expect that to happen.
They don't expect the leaders to listen to them?
No.
I'm sure they do, otherwise they wouldn't be out protesting. I don't think they're going through the motions, Wammo. Yesterday we had another protest. This was Sunday, our time. Basically, the group, it was an unannounced and unauthorised protest. Actually, the protesters, the demonstrators, have been quite good at letting the police know exactly where they're going to be and what they're going to do, and how many people might turn up and things like that. But this one yesterday was aimed at shutting down production at one of the ports, and it sounds like it could have got pretty violent, but the police stopped it before it even got there and just rounded up 250 people, arrested them all and chucked them in the jail. The thing is, they release all these people afterwards without charging them. So it really is just getting them off the street and not allowing them to protest. And I think it's going to be something that will be debated intellectually for a long time in Denmark. Was this the right thing to do, and how does Denmark look in the eyes of the rest of the world by treating demonstrations in this way?
Now, I've noticed over the past few days, actual results from the conference are being talked down once again. Is that the feeling there at the moment?
Well, I saw that John Key had made comments that there's going to be no legally binding treaty coming out of the conference, but that's not really news. I mean, the Danish Prime Minister said almost a month ago that he didn't expect a legally binding treaty to be signed, but that a political agreement was certainly on the cards, and that's been the talk leading up to the conference and during. I think there's been a slight lack of coverage of COP15 in New Zealand. It's very far away, and it was, John Key wasn't going to come, and then he did come. I think there's a little bit of confusion in the media coverage that I've seen. on for example, on the Stuff website and places like that.
Yeah. Nick Smith, our climate change minister, has already arrived there as well. So no doubt he's starting to settle down in the cupboard that is the New Zealand sort of headquarters there, I suppose. And he's buoyed by some news that some kind of recent study, we're in the top 10 of countries with a decent plan to reduce our gases. I'm not sure if you've heard of that, but I mean, who knows where some of these statistics come from?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, New Zealand was also awarded the Fossil of the Day award last week, I think on Friday, and that was because of the emissions trading scheme that's been proposed by Nick Smith, actually, and being Fossil of the Day as a bad thing. So I don't know if you saw that story.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
David Williams, the press, wrote that. It was pretty hilarious, I thought.
Yeah. So we're actually headed towards the business end of the conference, aren't we?
Yeah, it's really, today you could really tell that a lot of party delegates are turning up now. When I went to the conference this morning, we couldn't even get off the subway, the underground train stop, which is just by the centre. That was closed because there were too many people on the ground there. So I had to go past and walk back, which is not fun for me because I'm actually on crutches at the moment. So I had to hop for about half a kilometre to get to the conference.
Right.
And then I had to wait for at least an hour to get in, and that's with accreditation. There were people who were when I left the conference at about 4 p.m. today, there was somebody holding up a sign saying, "I've been here since 7:30 a.m. this morning," and that was obviously somebody who wasn't accredited and had to wait in the slow line. So it's there's a bit of disorganisation out there. I read that more than 40,000 people have requested access to the conference, but there's only a capacity for 15,000 inside. So there's going to be huge queues outside every day, especially now that the leaders are starting to arrive. Also, with the leaders arriving on Wednesday, access is going to start getting more restricted. There's only going to be a certain number of NGO representatives allowed into the conference. And the media are going to be shut into the media centre, so as journalists, we can't move around the venue anymore from Wednesday. We're just going to be stuck in front of the computers and watching the various press conferences on the CCTV monitors in the media centre. So security is definitely tightening up, and everything's just kind of getting a little bit more tense now, also with the demonstrations.
And I suppose all eyes will be on Obama when he arrives and when he makes a speech.
Oh, that'll be exciting, Obama.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Well,
a little bit sick of Obama over here. He came for the IOC, the Olympic Committee Congress meeting that was here a couple of months ago, where Chicago lost the bid that he came to support. And the whole city just had to shut down because Obama was arriving. People couldn't fly in and out. People couldn't cross the bridge from Sweden over to Copenhagen.
Yeah,
you couldn't get a bus anywhere. It's a nightmare when he comes.
Obama more trouble than he's worth.
That's right.
On that note, Daniel Nielsen, we'll hope to catch up with you again in the next few days.
Sure thing.
Daniel Nielsen from the Copenhagen Post. Here's the Black Seeds.